Hello, thought I'd start the new year by making one of these commentary videos where I talk over a game because they seem quite popular. So I decided to try out Violent Rumble, which is this new map release by the anonymous people on the 4chan VR message boards. It's 11 maps and it has this absolutely gigantic dev kit. It contains all the content from the official Quake expansions, all the content from Quoth. It's got some other stuff in there. It's got like the jump boots from which is now in Arcane Dimensions, and Alkaline, Grappling Hook. It's got loads of stuff. It's really interesting. So I thought I would play this map called Recreational Astrocide by Coffee Achiever. They've made 3 maps in the set, and they're probably the standouts as far as I'm concerned. The architecture is genuinely impressive, the lighting's great, and it's got really kind of fun, aggressive gameplay loop with a lot of variety, verticality. Takes advantage of a lot of the features in the dev kit as well. Violent Rumble has rumble modifiers as well, which are gameplay modifiers of varying types. Like there's one which is enemies can dodge, one which swaps out certain enemy variations for others, randomized weapons and whatever else. I decided to use one here which is called Debilitated Rumble, which just caps maximum health at 50, just to make things a bit more exciting. I might make a video just where I've got them all turned on and I'm mucking about with something just to show it off. But it increases the replayability of the levels somewhat. Not always the most balanced experience, but a bit of fun. Debilitated, there's been a lot of fun with Nightmare for my second playthrough, so that's what this video is here. Enjoy! Straight off the bat here, you have this kind of explosive introduction, blowing the door off, which is a nice feeling. You go straight into this quad run here, which is relatively easy. The eddies you've got to be careful for because they can predict where you're going to go with the nails, so if you try and dodge around them in one direction, sometimes you'll just be going sort of with the nails and you take a shitload of damage. It's never a good thing. But apart from that, my main objective here is simply to get outside and kill the Gug that you can see here. The Gug from Quoth, they have that in this. You can see there's going to be a lot of different disparate sort of elements from various Quake things put together in this set. But it comes off quite well. A bit bloated but coherent. Quake has always been a hodgepodge of different styles and ideas, so it's very forgiving. The style of this place is really nice as well. There's some really nice architectural touches, like there's holes in the window where a few of the sort of panes of glass have been broken out. But, true to form, it looks a lot like the sort of industrial buildings that you see around here in the north of England. These grand buildings that have been converted, or just built in that specific style as if you're based like that Leeds. Big windows open to light. It's lovely. It's really lovely. So this is symmetrical, this area here. If you go down the other side, there's no mega health or secret, just a message saying nothing here with a little sad face, which is quite cute. And going inside here, you can see there's been retrofitted into this big crane. All these crates here. The green is radioactive, does actually hurt you, which is a nice little touch. But it's relatively straightforward so far in terms of what's going on. You could see earlier on as well I picked up the Dissolution of Eternity ammo types. The alternative ammo and weapons. So I've got some multi-grenades. I used some of the cluster grenades there to kill the eddies from Quoth. And the most important use for that is probably the multi-rockets, which are invaluable later on for killing things quickly. I don't really see how it's necessary, mind, still, but it's there, you know. This is a real kitchen sink dev kit. It does get a bit awkward though, because there's a lot of double binding for weapons where you got to press 1 twice, and you got to make sure you pull out the right kind of rocket launcher unless you kill yourself and things like that. I don't know where those enemies are from. Those are like almost like jellyfish, but they latch onto your face, especially on Nightmare difficulty. They will just grab you and they will pull you really hard. And I find them unpleasant. They freak me out a little bit. This section here, if you fall off the edge, you will die immediately. So a great place to put a flying polyp, whose primary means of engaging with players is to knock them off the wall, basically. You can see here how cautious I am with those things. I think one charges forward a little bit. Yeah, and they will latch onto you. So this entire area here is again, it's lovely. It's The map is based on these ideas. You have these 4 sort of floating buildings. So it makes sense that you've got the whatever it's impulse, whatever's causing the bloody thing to float, which is nice. That opens a shortcut what I've done there, so I can pick up this laser cannon. Because there are some... the laser cannon is from, I believe that's from Scourge of Armageddon. It's bound to Z for me, which made it a bit easier to deal with. But those are bobs there, but they're the rocket pod versions, and those rockets do splash damage and they can track you as well. So they are dangerous as hell. You really don't want to get hit by them, especially with a 50 HP cap. And that's the first area sorted there. So you're moving on to this next one, which is this really wonderful cathedral. Really pretty. I was quite taken aback when I saw the architecture on the outside of this. Considering this is Coffee Achiever's first real releases I've ever seen, they're really impressive. Unique texturing as well in here. What raised on the plinth there was the jump boots. This has the jump boot mod in. You can have 2 tiers of jump boots as well, just like Alkaline or Arcane Dimensions has it now as well. I think it was JCR who made that mod, which is really, really fun. But the textures in here, I believe they're from a game called Warhammer Agents of Death, which was a planned FPS, I think, that was made by a Polish development house. But they went bankrupt midway through development, so in '99 they abandoned it. So I've never seen these textures before used in Quake, but they look really good. And I looked at that game as well, which there's very limited information about on the English language internet, but there's a lot in Russian, and there's a lot of Cyrillic YouTube video titles, which might have more info, but I can't understand them. So this is nice, you've got this kind of mix of indoor and outdoor combat, more open and more constrained here. So when you're on this outer area, it's pretty tight, That's Dissolution of Eternity. I think it's Dissolution of Eternity. No, it's not. It's the multi-cluster rocket, cluster grenade ogre. Nasty piece of work. You can also just jump straight across these gaps in the inside, if you really want to, but there's no real need to. Secrets there in the dark as well. Easy to miss the trigger, as you saw. Got to watch out. There's a lot of quite awkward secrets in these maps. It took me quite a lot of time to figure them all out. You can ring the bell. It doesn't do anything. I just love ringing the bell. And I love this touch here with the scaffolding on the outside to create another path. It's just really, really effective. And you can see here how easily these things can dodge. If you use the dodge modifiers, because there's lots of modifiers that I mentioned earlier in this, they will just warp all over the place, be really hard to hit. So collecting the jump boots here, it triggers this trap. It's supposed to, knock you straight down to the ground. So the idea is down there you've got loads and loads of awkward Death Knights, and then you've got the Drolls on the top, who are Quath enemies, and they can spam lava balls at you, and they can predict. And you have this Night Gaunt as well, and this is the proper, the Quoth Night Gaunt, not the Arcane Dimensions one. So they have a Shambler-like lightning attack, but very limited sort of resolution of it. So if you go strafing to the side, you can dodge it. But they're very dangerous enemies with low health. But what I just did there was just stayed on the top level, took out the Drolls, and completely ignored everything down below. The Drolls eventually enrage themselves and jump down, and you can just use the cluster grenades. Now this guy I don't get. There's a couple of Shambler variants, or maybe 3. That's one of them. He's got like a limiting cap on, I guess, so you can't do the lightning attack. But they run pretty fast, and the melee really hurts, so it's best to stay out of their way. So I'm doing a secret on the roof here. There's 4 of these secret encounters. I'm not sure. I don't think you're supposed to come up here with just one set of jump boots, because you can see I'm kind of doing some quite awkward jumping here, and then to get on this little ridge here, I'm walking up a very steep slope. I think you're supposed to come back later when you got the grapple. But these encounters are great. They're really interesting. So I got the rocket launcher and the multi-rockets here, so get that straight away. There's always a red, there's always a quad, and then something happens. Here you have the spawns of these guys. These are, again, I think they're from Dissolution of Eternity. I think they're called Overlords. I think they act as boss monsters, potentially? I really can't remember, but those balls there are like vor balls, which are extremely fast, really hard to dodge, even when you're straight jumping. But they have a very powerful melee attack, or powerful enough that because if they're getting a glob, you don't want them to start hitting you. But I was much more scared of those balls than I should be. I looked it up after the fact, because I assumed they were doing a lot of damage. I think they only do 6 to 9 damage, which is absolutely nothing. But I treat them, and I treat the rats, which have the same attack, as being really dangerous purely because I just didn't know. I couldn't. There's so much going on, I couldn't keep it in my mind. So that's the second area sorted out now, and then the third one here. So you've got to have the different movement items to progress to the different areas. And I love this here. It's got the underside with all the concrete tunnels and stuff like that. It's pretty cool. And then climbing around the outer edge. It's nice. It just creates that sort of sense of place, a degree of realism to it as well. Like even if you look at the ground here, you can see the slabs on the ground, and they're not complete. They're broken away, and you've got the raw sort of concrete or rock surface below. That's just lovely. It's just really, really, really nice. So I'm just going around the outer edge here just to clear it all out, because there is another night gaunt just kind of chilling out, acting as a gargoyle. They actually are quite useful because they mark a spot where you can get to a secret later on. The safest way of getting to it. Probably the nastiest secret in the entire set. So you got centroids here in the starting room as well, just bizarre enemy. They do have the dodge, so they can dodge you very effectively if they want to, so shooting nails at them is a bad idea. Not that there's much I don't really use nails at all in this when it comes down to it. Just going all in with explosives. And it's nice, this whole area is nice. It's multi-layer. As you climb, more stuff spawns in. If you have double jump early like I do, which is what I got from that secret encounter, you can skip a lot of these spawns and just sort of get straight to the top without any issues. But since I was trying 100% it, I figured I would do my best not to, really. It's just a really nice industrial area. The green vent there does hurt you. Gotta watch out. There's some leaking pipes as well, which are kind of nice. But there's a huge amount of ammo and resources here. You can play this however you like, basically. I just found it best to spam the rocket launcher. It's the most fun. There's awkward, what are they called? Sentinels, I think? Those bizarre floating things. Not that dangerous, just really bizarre, irritating enemy. When you climb around the edge here, you can see the next major resource is just in the distance. It's quite exciting. And it is a grappling hook. Now the grappling hook is really complicated. There is a quick grapple button, which is like an alias setup to do that, which switches back to your other weapon, which is a really good idea. It's got 3 charges. You can see it on the HUD. It uses client-side QC, so you need to play this with sort of vkquake or Quake's Plasma Spites to get the actual HUD working. And there's a Vermis from Quake down there. Doesn't really work in that position. They're too far back in the room where they can't really cover this front entrance on the doorway. It's too far away. So their attack, which is usually really dangerous, just does nothing. And, you know, they're dangerous up close because they can grab you. Maybe put them where the lava hole is there instead, have their hole there, so they have better coverage so you can't just hide. It's a tricky one in this room. Because as it stands, you just sort of stand at the top there and spam them down. That cooling liquid hurts down there a lot. Yeah, the grapple though, it's got 2 modes as well, so it's got the normal grapple mode and it's got like a swinging mode. And I have no idea why you would have the swinging mode. It doesn't seem to do anything useful at all, because the grapple itself is so powerful in terms of movement options. There's no reason not to use it. The secret for the pen as well, I just want to say, like, that was really hard to find. I knew it was there, but I couldn't find a way to get to it. I was looking for shootable switches. I didn't realise in the dark there, there's just a hole that leads straight into it. I thought the top was going to open somehow. So here's a good example of where the grapple can be used, and this is the most dangerous secret to find. Uses all the different movement choices we got. Double jump down here, grapple straight up, Grappling here, you've got a wetsuit, which is completely useless, but it's a nice Easter egg secret. So waiting for it to recharge there, getting the 3 pips, and then going along the bottom to try and climb out. But you can see the amount of momentum you get there, and that cancels the sort of, you know, the friction frames in Quake and in single player stop you from going really fast when you sort of bunny hop. But with double jump boots and with a grappling hook, you can keep yourself going, you know, 900 units a second if you're good, no problem. It's really fun. And then using this now to go back to the previous area to collect another one of these secret backpacks on a rooftop. The Cathedral one similarly I should have gone. So here's another weapon. There's a railgun. I don't know what this is from, the railgun, but there is a railgun. But it's also not a railgun. Its primary fire is like it shoots enforcer bolts, which has a charge up. And it's just the worst weapon ever. It just feels terrible. It does very little damage, and it takes a long time to charge. And it's just awkward because when you're switching weapons, this is all bound, I think, on the Z key. So it shares a slot with the plasma gun, the sort of laser gun, and the alt fire for the railgun. The railgun also has a zoom, but only in Quake Spasm Spiked, because vkquake's client-side QC is much more limited. But I didn't really think there's a use for it. But it's a really fun weapon. It feels good. It's quite powerful. And there's another secret up here, which again you're going to need the grappling tool to get, and that's the hammer from Scourge of Armageddon. You can turn that on and off to preserve ammo, whatever that means. I think when you can just use it as a more powerful melee if you turn it off with the alternate fire button. There's alt fires for the weapons, or at least there's alt fires for the grenade launcher, at the very least, which fires like a grenade that kind of just dribbles out the gun. It's fucking bizarre, honestly. It's really an odd choice. That's just an example of like a button too far, where I just keep it unbound, because why use it? Huge mistake here, trying to get in that chimney, because the quad spawns up there. This fight, if you don't know about it, is scarily dangerous. There's 3 Gugs, there's 4s, there's Drolls, there's everything, really. But with quad, you can just melt everything. Earlier on, I accidentally switched to the Scourge of Armageddon, the Dissolution of Eternity plasma alt fire for the weapons, because it's got all of those. It's frustrating. It's not what you want. Playing LG is all you really need. People say things like, why don't you use Dissolution as the base for mods and things like that, and I think this is one of the reasons why. It's because most of the changes are pretty bloody bad. Having multiple ammo types just means more finger gymnastics trying to figure stuff out. Trying to switch weapons it's a nightmare, it really is. It's the issue I have with games like, what's it called? That one that everyone really likes. Ultra Kill. It's the issue I had with Ultra Kill and Doom Eternal. Like, switching between the weapon modes on Ultra Kill is a pain in the ass. And that's the mechanical depth of those games. Once you master weapon switches and have good bind setup, you can just mash your infinite free dodge button, and but that's an aside there for a day. I'm not particularly a fan of those. So this is the final building here. You can see the Sendroid's incredible dodging power. There's an upper level and a lower level. There's a key associated with each one, which opens a slipgate to the exit. That there is the power shield from Dissolution of Eternity. I genuinely don't know what that does. I think it does something like damage reduction from the front only. I don't know why I don't pick it up either. I just walk around it pointedly like I'm going to take this at some point, and I think I just forget about it. And there's yet another variant of Shambler. That one shoots plasma bolts, and when those hit walls, lightning arcs off them. Just painful. Really dangerous anyway, that's why I'm backing off. Before railgun shots kills them, no problem. There's another variant as well that shoots like 4 unguided lightning streams. They're horrendous. I just want to say the coloured lighting here from the windows and stuff looks so nice. And then you've got this area here as well with the like the computer core, or whatever this is. Just great. I mean, it's really garish in terms of lighting, but they pull it off really nicely. So here we have the Wrath enemies that I was talking about from Dissolution, which I'm just terrified of for no reason. Like, why am I so scared? They do 6 damage if they hit you, and I've got red armor. But I for some reason I had this in my head that they were the guys with the powerful melee from the rooftop encounter when I was doing this, so I was like, oh, gotta stay away from them. They're dangerous as hell, gotta keep my distance. But I could have just been running around this room, no problem. The only real danger in this room is the multiple eddies around here, who just, you know, spam you with nails from up top. Like there, just the amount of damage I took, because it was just... I was being predicted where I was going to go, and I was walking straight into where the nails were, instead of standing still. You gotta pay attention with enemies that can predict. Games like this, you know, Doom as well, a lot of it's just pattern recognition, dodging attacks as you see them come out, and you just think about where they're going to be. You don't actually have to look where they're going to be, or look what's happening. You just look, you can just see the animation or hear the cue, and then move predictively. But the danger of having enemies that can predict where you're going to go, obviously, is that you have to watch them very carefully. Is this a homing shot or not? Is this something which is, I'm going to get punished for, you know, moving to one side or not? And it's tricky, it's a really tricky proposition. That's why I don't like that. Doom 2016 used that trick. Nightmare in Doom 2016 was like a joke. It was an absolute joke when it came out. It was incredibly easy. And then they used the trick of, what if imps could track you with their shots? And then suddenly you were taking 60 to 80 damage on Nightmare. I think it was 60 damage. Because the imp would throw a fireball where you were going to go when you were running around in a big loop where nothing else could touch you, because it was literally the only thing that could hurt you. So pushing those cards back in is going to release the field on the key there. You can see them all over the place. You could just do these all at once, because they all spawn different waves of things, but I was playing very cautiously here, because, I mean, it's not that difficult, this map, even with 50 HP cap, but silly mistakes add up. And there's a huge amount of ammo in here. So, you know, going relatively quickly, but not all out. I would never be good at speedrunning, because I don't like going balls out with taking risks, really. But it's a great multi-level fight, this. It has there's a good mix in each of the waves of things we do, where it will put things, you know, walking on the ledges and flying things. So if you want to stay aggressive and up the top, you really have to think about your positioning and where you are, and think about where threats can come from. This wave is dangerous. I have no idea who these, like, rocket marines are, what they're from, but they seem pretty dangerous, and they do hurt if those rockets hit you. But thankfully they're quite weak as well, so I kind of have a glass cannon thing. But I think that's literally the only point these enemies appear in this entire jam or set of levels, whatever you want to call it, this entire mod. It's the only time I ever saw them. Strange buggers, really strange. And there's the last one there, which is the most dangerous wave. You can trigger these in any order you want. It's not like a set order for a pattern or anything, and it's the night gaunts. But you can see there what you can do with the grappling hook. I don't do it very often in this, but if you grapple ahead of yourself there, you can get an incredible amount of speed and just keep that momentum going. And it's really fun just to zip around at warp speed, like playing hyper aggressively or just jumping about having fun. Like AD has a grappling hook now as well, so I just wish there were more maps that took advantage of it, because it's just a lot of fun. A good grappling hook is like the jump boots. It just opens up those opportunities for movement. Like the blast belt as well in AD lets you do rocket jumping for free, so why not take advantage of that in maps more often, you know? You can also grab things with the grappling hook as well. You can pull them toward you, which is, if they're small enemies, which is nice, or you can just be pulled into them to combo them with a shotgun or something. But there's a second mode, I did mention it, where it's like a swing. And that's if you like had the red pips instead of the yellow ones, and that doesn't drag you toward it. You can just use it to swing and keep your momentum. But why? Why would you do that? Okay, so there's two steps of steps going up and down out of this area to the top floor. I've already cleared out one. I'm just clearing out the other now. This one's relatively straightforward. And then you're on this top level here. There's a rooftop, and then there's this area here, which is kind of nice. And this is where the exit slipgate is. And also a lot of tech enemies, which are fitting, It's so cool how each area of this map has its own unique sort of texture theming and styling, and they pull it off so well. There's not a single area where I think to myself, oh well, that's not particularly well textured, or that's a mishmash and out of place. Here you just have all these kind of cool Warhammer-y, I think they're from Warhammer, a lot of these textures. There's references in the stained glass windows, I think, to like various Blood Angels, I think that's a Warhammer. Just looks nice, just looks really nice. And again, the lighting makes all the difference. Coffee Achiever's other map in this set, they've made two, but the other one that I've got a video on called, I think it's Necro Bestial Anal Butt Sex. It's a cool lyric, I think. That's really, really nice as well in terms of lighting. And then you've got this big fucking gun up here, which is just so damn cool. So there's a secret on top of the gun, because of course there is, but there's also a secret if you go into the gun. Now, I didn't do this the first time I played this on Twitch. I just thought, oh, there's nothing down there. I just thought it was decoration. But it's actually a jump pad, and it takes you up to this cool area here with the little chaos symbol. And this is one of the 6 runes in Violent Rumble across the different maps, which leads to the final encounter. And this is one of them. And you get your last secret encounter as well, which is the most dangerous of all. Bunch of porta toilets, which fire grenades and farting sounds for whatever reason. Bit weird. And there's flying polyps as well, so you've got to be careful just spamming rockets here, because a polyp might be invisible and directly in front of you, and then, bad times. But you have such ridiculous sort of ability options. You've got the double jump, you've got a grappling hook. Like, you're not going to take damage here unless you do something really stupid. And there's in the middle there, I don't look at it for long, but it's a little tiny model of the rest of the map, high above it all, which is lovely. And from here, you can jump all the way back quite quickly back to the gun. But I'm taking it careful here because I fucked this up on a demo attempt recording, where I tried to do a smart thing and jump straight across to this rooftop, and I missed with a grappling hook and fell to my death. Embarrassing. Use the grapple to cross this gap. Look how fast you can go, it's crazy. You could just keep this up all day. Unless you kill your momentum here. And there's another secret on the outer edge here. This is actually a pretty useful one. Because this final encounter here is probably the most dangerous in the entire map, by quite a margin. Just because of how chaotic it is. So this here releases a failsafe for the weapon, or something, I don't really know. Got that cute message. And then it just spawns a little bit of everything. I get nailed by a gug there, that's what, 80 damage instantly? You don't want to stand still. But there's gugs, there's polyps, there's spawns kicking about, there's the weakened shamblers, but there's also a very powerful shambler at the bottom if you try and retreat off the rooftop that'll punish you. So don't do that, just stay on the roof, stay calm. But there's so much space to work with here, I mean, that once you kill the gug, really, that's your main threat. Once you kill the gug and your 2 shambler boys, you will have no issues whatsoever. And if your spawns are very kind to you there and get just trapped inside geometry. There's enough armour and health just to keep yourself re-upped. I would have liked it if this was maybe like multi-phase, this fight. That would probably be a lot better. It would feel more of a capstone fight. Like, because the ground floor fight is multi-phase, so why not make this one kind of similar? Have, you rejecting the failsafe, have it so you have to, I don't know, multiple other parts around the rooftop. Maybe they deactivate the gun or make the gun do something, or you could have something happen. Just to make it feel that bit more of a capstone encounter. And you can see here this final shambler, who I'm really scared of for some reason. It's fine, it's been a bit of fun. There you go, that is Recreational Astrocide by Coffee Achiever. That is such an impressive debut in such an impressive set of maps. I was genuinely taken aback at how good Violent Rumble was. And it's a lot of fun too with the modifiers as well later on. Like, I'm using Debilitated here, but some of the other ones, like they swap out enemy variants. You've got the Doom and Doom 2 style shotgun and super shotgun. It's just great fun. So give it a go. Go download it now. See you later.